And finally, I actually got a vlog to do, but I'll do that later tonight. Some magic for this week. There was some stuff for the new dual decks, which did spoil some Shadows over Innistrad stuff, but it wasn't really worth mentioning. Instead, we're talking about the sets that are going to be coming up. Now, when I say sets that are coming up, I mean the sets after Shadows over Innistrad, after that. So, the question that is to be addressed is, what is the next new plane we'll go to, and what is the next return plane we'll go to? Now, to understand that question, we need to understand where we've been so far. Right now, with our first return plane was Scars and Mirrodin, followed by Return of the Ravnica, and followed by Battle for Zendikar, now Shadows over Innistrad. We haven't had a new next set is almost certainly a new plane. That's a given, because we've had 2 old planes in a row. 2 return sets. So, the question is, what are those new planes going to be? Now, to answer that question, which is what I'm going to answer first, we need to go to what are the types of planes we could see? And are they planes that we know about we could see, or are they just going to be brand new planes? Because we know about Viren, which is the home plane of Jace. We know about Kaladesh, the home plane of Chandra. We also know about Ragath, the plane she planeswalked to. But what if it's a new plane? Now, to get an idea, there was a poll done about 3 or 4 months ago, I want to say. Maybe 5. Could be pushing it. On Blogatog, which is Mark Rosebotter's personal blog. He answers questions for Magic fans all the time. And he asked, he did a list, basically. He did a poll of what is the types of planes we want to see, and what's the types of planes we want to return to. So we'll start off with the ones that he basically ranked on the ones that I'd like to see. Now, what ranked in number 1 was an Egypt theme set. Now, I would dig that. I would dig the whole idea of an Egypt theme set. Dealing with bringing mummies as an actual type, though we would probably still be zombies. Bringing crocodiles. Crocodiles could get a bigger actual sub theme because they're part of Egyptian culture. Cats would get a big focus. A whole different way of doing gods. That'd be cool. So Pirate was the second one. Pirate would be interesting, but it would have to kind of be a plane dotted just with islands and stuff. So that would be odd to do, but not a bad idea. I basically, in fact, Norse and Celtic came in 30th, and Norse came in 3rd, but they kind of are the same thing. So it's kind of hard to rank that, but it would be interesting to see Norse and Celtic, because there's so much lore mythology that goes into that world alone. You got the Yggdrasil tree, you got the stag, you got the crow, you got the Midgard serpent. Again, you could do gods in their own different way. Farron, the wolf, the god killer, god-killing wolf. So there's a lot you could do with that. I would totally be down to see the Midgard serpent, the stag, and the crow. That would be so cool. Can you imagine what those legendary creatures would be like? Oh my god, those would be awesome. I think they'd all be multicolored too, completely. But then we go into Kaladesh, ranked number 4. See, I don't rank that as a new plane. That's a plane we've actually been to. Then we had a prehistoric / dinosaur one. Dino actually ranked in at number. Which one did it rank in as? It ranked in as number. Ranked in as number 5, but prehistoric ranked in as number 12. They're more or less the same thing. Yes, you have prehistoric ages after dinosaurs, but they are more or less the same thing. In fact, you could do. Here's an idea for if you want to do a prehistoric set, do it like this. You do it like this. You do pre-dinosaur set, more or less, with things. It's prehistoric. Well, pretty much you'd probably be going to what's the name of it? Where I know I had to write it down here. So 1 second. Is it Muraganda? Muraganda is the name of the plane. Oh yeah, there is Muragad. Something like that. It's basically where Imperasaurus is from. And the ooze, the commander ooze, the black, blue, green one. That's where that's from. So that would be the set that this would take place on. But you rank it. You do it basically like this. You do it pre-dinosaurs, not full-on dinosaurs, but everything kind of like pre-dinosaurs. There's powerful stuff, but it's all in its infancy, more or less. Then you bring in real dinosaurs, plus you bring in some of the other prehistoric life, like maybe some small mammal stuff, some birds, other reptiles. Again, super giant crocodile, love that. Bring in some of like the prehistoric creatures. And then you go into the Ice Age, not Precambrian, but I don't know the actual names, but cavemen, and obviously humans would exist, and elves and stuff would probably, whatever the humanoid race in this world would be, they'd exist throughout this period. The Vashinos could come back too. There you go for that. But the third set would be like, saber-toothed, woolly mammoths, cavemen, Neanderthal, things along that line. It would definitely be a more primitive plane, and it would be a cool way to go, I think. Then you have Vikings, which fits into Norse. Steampunk, which fits into Kaladesh, honestly. Wild West, that one is a hard one to do. Because you could make a steampunk Wild West, that'd be interesting, but the problem with Wild West is you got gunslingers and stuff like that. Magic definitely tries to stay away from the modern stuff, like explosive weaponry in terms of like guns and stuff, like missiles and that kind of modern warfare. They don't really go towards that route for very specific reasons, because it kind of reduces the fantasy element. I don't see a Wild West theme. Waterworld kind of fits into pirate a little bit, but I think they mean like an entire plane covered in water, which, how do you actually do that? That's difficult to do. Because that ranked in number 13. Native American, not a bad idea. There's a good amount of lore that goes with them. A subterranean plane would be interesting. An Africa-based plane. There's also an Australia one and an India one. Then you have an Arthurian, like King Arthur. Yeah. High fantasy, which honestly is more or less Lorwyn. And fairy tale, Lorwyn, more or less. Here you go, puppy. Unless you're talking about high fantasy, like almost Mother Goose stuff, then that gets weird. Like, who's Humpty Dumpty? Who's the old lady living in a shoe? That's weird. That's kind of weird at that point. Then you get that's the only one I'm not quite certain on. Fyrulia? Whatever. Winter was Cold Snap, basically. Multiplane, Shards. Japan, Kamigawa. Rome, Theros was Greek and Roman mythology. So none of that stuff really is. It's already been done. Dream, don't know how that works. Sky, like a sky world, I could see that. Kind of like, think Zendikar meets, kind of like Avatar almost. If you remember Avatar, like the floating mountains, there's something that can be done there. Or if you think kind of like the Vespin Mind community and Cloud City, it could be kind of like that, because Cloud City actually had its own environment and stuff. Then there's a prison plane. I'm not quite certain how that works. The only way a prison plane works is like this backwater plane where you just dump individuals, more or less. It'd be like a planeswalker prison. India and Celtic. So that's all this. That's how that all ranked. Oh, I also forgot Mesoamerica too. Mesoamerica came in at number 11. Now, Mesoamerica is one I would really like to see, like Aztecs, the Mayans, all the mythology behind that. You have like jaguar people, winged serpents like the Quetzalcoatl. That would be like the big mainstay legendary creature in that set, I think. That would be cool. I also forgot. I got to retract my prehistoric plane one, because we only do 2 sets in a block now. So, I don't know. They can figure out a way to work. But in terms of what I think we're going to see, if I were just going based on this, like the ones that ranked in like the top 5, I would think we're probably going to get Kaladesh. We're going to go see Kaladesh next. Or Viren, I think. But if I were to think of what else people would want to see, a prehistoric plane wouldn't be a bad idea. Or Egypt's is a possibility as well. But I honestly think we might see Kaladesh, because we haven't had a plane that's kind of heavy in artifacts. And Kaladesh seems like an artifact-heavy plane. Not like Mirrodin Cell, where it's literally almost a plane itself is an artifact, but an artifact-heavy plane. So, if I were to guess what our new set's going to be, new plane, after Shadows over Innistrad, I'm going to lean towards Kaladesh right now. It's either going to be, I think, Kaladesh or Viren, because both seem actually heavy on the artifact. I think Kaladesh more so, but Viren you could definitely see having some artifact history to it. Now, in terms of the planes that we'd like to see, like to return to, the number one's already been number one already happened with Innistrad. Innistrad was ranked number one. Guess what? That's the next set. So with the other ones that ranked, next one people wanted to return to is Lorwyn. Dominaria came in number 3. Kamigawa was next. New Phyrexia, Lara. Ravnica was already done. We're not going to return to Ravnica after another Return to Ravnica set. So at least not right now. Maybe at a later point there. Theros, Tarkir, Kaladesh, Virency, Fiora, Shanalar, Mercata, Zendikar, Phyrexia, and then a couple other ones that really just didn't rank up there. But we're returning to Innistrad, so what will be the next return set we get? Well, to answer that question, you gotta think about when we got our first return set. We got Scars of Mirrodin. Excuse me. Scars of Mirrodin. Let's see. It went, and forgive me if I get this wrong. It went Mirrodin. Then I believe it was the Future Sight sets. Then I think we went to Ravnica or Lorwyn. Ravnica and Lorwyn. I don't know the order, but I know this is more or less how it came about. Lorwyn, Lara, Zendikar, and then it took us 6 sets to get the Scars of Mirrodin. Then we go into Ravnica. Again, Ravnica. Now I know, I'm pretty certain Lorwyn came afterwards. So Lorwyn, Alara, Battle for Zendikar, Scars, Innistrad. And that only took us 5 sets. Now we go into Battle for Zendikar, which was our next return set. We went to Mirrodin, Innistrad, Ravnica, Theros, Tarkir, then again to Zendikar. So that's 5 again. Then Innistrad, Ravnica. We went to Ravnica, Theros, Tarkir, Battle. Now we are up to Innistrad. So that's only four planes different planes we went to after that. So it seems that they're compressing time, because they also said they're doing the 3-block structure because they're wanting to speed up storytelling, which makes sense. And I actually don't mind because we get more sets in the year and more blocks. So 4 years. So what after Innistrad? Let's see if we follow this trend right now. What would be the next plane that we would return to after that if that's the pattern we're going for a storyline? Well, the answer would be Tarkir, because I can almost guarantee we're getting 2 new sets after this. Because two returns, 2 old, now we're to return to another one. It would be Tarkir would be the answer, but I don't think there's any story really left to tell on Tarkir at the moment. There's story left to tell on Theros. Theros is not a bad idea, but I think the next return set we do, honestly, is going to be the return to a much older plane we have not seen in a while. And I think the answer to that, it's going to be a tie, I think, especially between those numbers. It's going to be either, because the set name always has to fit into the title of the set. Or excuse me, the plane's name always fits into the first title of the set of the block. So it's also got to be something that kind of rolls off well. So I think Dominaria is not a bad idea, but I don't think there's much left to tell on Dominaria, honestly. I mean, you could go into the aftermath after the mending, but there's not much to tell after that. I'm sorry, there's not much. I don't think there's much story left to tell on Dominaria. Unless, of course, you somehow go back to, like, Karn and stuff. Which, Karn's a guy we haven't seen in a while. He's one we haven't seen in a damn long time. So, we could see Karn, I think. Karn could show up at some point. That's a different story entirely when we see Karn again. That's another video I should do. When we're going to see some of these guys again, I think. But, yeah, I think it's going to be one of 3 options for our next return set. And this is and I think it's going to be in this order, I think. It's going to be, wait a minute, I just want to see where it all ranked. Yep, I think it's going to be in this order. And not how it's quite ranked on here. In terms of storytelling, mind you, because I think it benefits for storytelling because we need the continuation of some of these stories. I think your options are Kamigawa, because there's so much more you could tell on there, and there's so much more history that can be shown there. Plus, while it was not loved as a set in terms of the cards, the mythos and the actual world people adored. So I think if we return to Kamigawa, they're going to retcon a lot of the shit that went on in that. Next, I think it's New Phyrexia. I think New Phyrexia stands a good shot of being revisited at some point, where we stand at New Phyrexia, because we also haven't had a really heavy artifact set yet. And this is only if I think, no, not necessarily. In fact, it would actually make more sense if Kaladesh is, in fact, artifact heavy, not artifact predominated plane, whereas Phyrexia Mirrodin, what it is now, is definitely more of almost artifact dominated plane, or was. It would make sense to follow those up to kind of have some not symmetry. Oh God, not symbolism. Wow, I'm blanking out on the word. Cohesion's not the word I was looking for. Cohesion's not a bad one. To have some a segue? No, I'm gonna think of the word either by the end of the video or when I'm done with the video. It's like, that was the fucking word! Anyway, but yeah, to have some relatability between each other. Hey, Dama's getting a little fussy. I'll have to take her out a little bit. Yes, I'm almost done. But, yeah. Hey, stop. No! Oh, now she's getting fussy. You're getting fussy. Stop. Hey. She's such a little irritating dog sometimes. I love you, but you're oh man, you're really getting bratty at the moment. No bite. There we go. Calm down. There you go. Domino came to visit. So to wrap this up real quick, because I'm going to have to take her out, because she's really getting antsy. Yeah, and then the third set, I think, most likely would be Lorwyn. Ah, whoa. And now you're getting irritating. So yeah, I think the third set would be Lorwyn. I think that's the most likely of them, because Lorwyn's a loved set. It really is. It did get a little wonky in a couple ones. I think I like Shadow more and Eventide better than just Lorwyn and Morningtide. But so yeah, I think those are your likely ones to go to. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Let me share your thoughts if you think differently. I'd like to hear your opinions on that, because this is one of those things where I can be 100% wrong, and I don't care. I like Magic. I just get more Magic sets anyway. I'm certain they'll revisit most of these, if not all of these sets at some point in the future. It's just a matter of time and pressure, as Morgan Freeman would put it. Time and pressure. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review things, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I do have a vlog to do. I'll probably get to that later tonight. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.